8 months later. For everyone, 8 months just flew by, but for Wine, it seemed to stop. Mr. and Mrs. Kim cared for her with all their heart. Grace and Lucy were more than sisters to her, but still she felt empty. Since Theo left, she couldn't sleep at night. It feels as if Theo has taken away her sleep with him. Theo would call his parents daily. Once he did FaceTime, and Mrs. Kim gave the phone to Wine. She barely talked to him and passed the phone to Grace. Since then, neither Theo contacted her nor she did. Once more, she immersed herself in writing, which resulted in her gaining popularity. She was glad her in-laws supported her. 4 months ago, she got an offer to write a drama. She accepted it. Now she was leaning on the headboard with the laptop placed on her lap. She was drowned in her thoughts, thinking about the conversation she had with Grace this morning. Grace had suspiciously asked her about her relationship with Theo. Wine tearfully told everything that Theo had told her on their wedding night in a state of emotional confusion, and now she regretted it. Grace furiously said she would complain about him to her parents, but Wine refused to do so. The ringtone of her phone broke the chains of her thoughts. She picked up the phone lazily and saw the caller ID. She blinked twice and rubbed her eyes, staring at her phone in disbelief. She hesitantly attended the call. Theo, she whispered before attending the call. Wine, he spoke desperately but soon composed himself. How are you? She felt herself drown in his captivate deep voice. Fine, she said in a low tone while her heart hammered in her chest. Relief washed over Theo hearing her voice after so long. Sorry for disturbing you at this hour. You might be sleeping. For a moment, Wine thought to tell him, I don't get sleep since you have gone, but decided against it. Why did you call me? She asked coldly. He went silent for a moment and then spoke. Wine, I want you to tell my parents to let me stay overseas. His voice made her clench her jaw. You're so mean and selfish. I will not tell them anything. Tell yourself, she furiously muttered. What selfishness have I done, and why would you not talk to my parents? He asked coldly. Ask yourself how selfish you are and what selfishness you have done, and my wish I won't talk to your parents. She declined the call and threw her phone on the bed. She let out a sigh and tried to concentrate on her script, but her mind was continuously drowning towards him. Wine told Grace about Theo's call and asked her if she had told him or their parents something. Grace said she didn't speak a word to anyone. Wine knew if she said she didn't means she didn't. Grace asked about their conversation. Wine told her everything furiously. Grace laughed and said now it was her chance to kiss and tease him. Now it was night. Wine was leaning on the headboard of the bed in her nightgown with the laptop on her lap. She wanted to complete the last episode as Grace's engagement was fixed in 2 months. Now she was typing and thinking whether Theo will come to attend his sister's engagement or not. Her phone beeped, averting her attention. She picked up her phone and saw Theo was FaceTiming. She attended the call. Theo's face came on display. How are you? Fine. Did you do my work? He asked, staring at her keenly. No. Such a rude girl. My parents are not mine anymore. They don't even receive my calls because of you. You must have spelled some kind of magic on my family. He wanted to say including me, but stopped while Wine felt something taking in her with all the blame. Are you done? She asked, trying hard not to burst on him. No, I am not going to dare to decline the call. He warned her while she stayed silent. A mischievous smirk twitched on his lips. Wine held her eyes at him. What a stunning view with that neckline hanging low. She frowned and glanced down. Her eyes widened, realizing he was referring to her revealing cleavage. She quickly fixed it. No use of fixing it. I have already seen it, he said with a wink. You pervert. A laugh erupted his throat. His laugh sounded like a melody to her ears. This was the first time she had seen him laughing. By the way, you are awake. What were you doing at this hour? I am not obligated to tell you. She shrugged her shoulders while placing a pillow on her lap. Theo smiled, noticing it. So to whom are you obligated to tell? And don't use the laptop at night in the dark. Exactly, finally you got something in that empty skull of yours. Will you talk to Mom and Dad? He said the last part in a pleading tone. Never, she muttered and declined the call. 3 months later, all these months, Wine completed her drama and it went on air. It was a turning point in her career. Mr. and Mrs. Kim were proud of her. The first episode itself created a buzz among audience. She got many more offers, but for a while she took a break from everything. She helped Mrs. Kim with the preparations. In 25 days, its Grace engagement ceremony. Whilst there is no trace of them, Mr. and Mrs. Kim didn't contact him either. They were angry because they wanted him to take Wine with him or come and settle here. Since that, they calls Wine every single night. Mostly he does FaceTime. At first, Wine used to attend his call, but then he would continuously tell her to talk to his parents about his stay overseas. It's been a while. Wine doesn't respond to his call. Now exhausted, Wine headed to her room after going shopping with Grace. She stepped into the room, but it was dimly lit. She kept all the shopping bags on the couch and laid on the bed. It was 5 p.m. She thought to take a nap. She covered herself with the comforter and closed her eyes, but snapped open her eyes. Thane's distinctive scent of cologne hit her nostrils. She sniffed the cologne, and after months, she could feel his scent. I think of Thane a lot these days. After all, I have nothing to do. She reasoned and tossed on the bed, but swiftly sat feeling someone's presence. She removed the comforter from him. When did he come? She almost yelled, seeing Thane in deep sleep. She stared at him with disbelief for a good 5 minutes. All this while he opened his eyes and on the bedside lamp. His eyes landed on Wine, who was sitting closer to him. He sat and leaned on the headboard. I have been here since 1 p.m. Your outing has come to an end, Mrs. Kim. She rolled her eyes. If only I had known you were coming today, I would have rolled out the red carpet and showered you with flowers, Mr. Kim. She said and was about to get off the bed, but Thane held her wrist. Aren't you showing some serious attitude towards me? You don't attend my calls and ignore what I say. Should I take it all at once? Leave my hand, mean and selfish person. Thane gave her a sudden jerk, pulling her towards him, causing her to land on his chest. Why do you keep calling me selfish? He tightened his grip around her. Because you are selfish. Now let me go, or else I will call everyone. She wiggled in his grip, feeling his hot breath fanning her face. Her heart pounded against her chest. What will you tell them? What was I doing? He whispered again, the hair strand behind her ear. I don't have to tell them anything. I'm telling you, I hate you, Thane. Her voice choked while her eyes glistened. Thane stared at her blankly. I thought you were a very good person, but I was wrong. His grip around her loosened. She quickly walked out of the room. Fancy. Since Thane has returned, Wine shifted back to the couch. Every morning she wakes up in an empty bed. Surprisingly, she gets a very good sleep. Mr. and Mrs. Kim were really happy to see him back. Thane helped them with the preparations. Everyone was happy except Wine and Thane. There was a coldness between them. Since the first day, Thane has also distanced himself from her. They would barely talk in front of the family members just to make sure they wouldn't suspect them. Tomorrow is Grace's engagement ceremony, while today was the last episode of Wine's drama. All the family members were gathered to watch it, including Thane. Everyone was at the edge of their seat as the drama ended. Lucy and Grace embraced her in a bone-crushing hug. Soon they called it a day and headed towards their bedroom. Wine's phone was continuously beeping with messages and calls. She replied to everyone wholeheartedly. Now she was sitting on the bed talking to the director who invited her for dinner to celebrate their success. She politely denied it and declined the phone. Thane walked out of the washroom and sat beside her. Wine, he held her hand, making her freeze. Congratulations on your success. She silently stared at his charming face. You wrote such a fabulous serial. I couldn't watch it overall, but those few episodes were amazing. I just realized you're so talented. She gulped the lump in her throat. I'm not talented, Thane. Intelligence is just found in business people and women who work outdoors. She spoke bitterly. There's no such thing, he spoke to her. Wrong, regret. Did you forget that your plans include an intelligent wife? Plan 1, you had to achieve your goals, which you did. Now complete plan 2 also quickly. I am just an obstacle in your way. Throw me away. She stood from the bed and walked towards the couch. Turn off the lights, she said and laid. Next day. Today's grace engagement. The whole day they didn't see each other. His interest in me is just because of the intelligence that he saw now. The thought made her even more disheartened about him. She couldn't forget the time she spent in loneliness crying at night. Now they all raised their venue. One was confused by Thames' continuous intense gaze. One was dressed in a royal blue full gown with a single full sleeve on the left and a thigh-high slit on the right. Her hair was elegantly tied in a messy bun and her smoky eye makeup and red lipstick added a touch of glamour. She was truly captivating since she had reached Grace Fellows and friends had gathered around her taking pictures with her talking about her novels and drama. The ceremony had begun, the bride and the groom exchanged the rings. The crowd erupted in applause, cheering for them. Soon the photo session took place. Wine walked towards a corner and heaved a sigh of relief. Hey, Mrs. Kim. Wine felt a hand on her shoulder and turned back. Lena, you are late, she said with a warm smile. And I have told you several times, call me Wine. Lena chuckled. Well, I was stuck in traffic. I'll make it up to Grace, she said, shrugging her shoulders. You look so gorgeous. I knew you were beautiful, but today I don't have words to describe it. Wine smiled, but before she could speak, Tam interrupted them. Her husband is also quite beautiful. He encircled his arm around Wine's waist and pulled her closer. She looked at him with disbelief. Then smiled widely in response. Lena chuckled. Am I not? He ignored Wine's dead stare and fixed his questioning gaze on Lena. You're not beautiful. You're extremely handsome. I'm afraid our sister-in-law might feel bad if I say something more. Then let out a laugh. No way, she doesn't feel bad. She's quite open-minded. In fact, she's looking for an intelligent working wife for me. Lena's eyes widened. Really, but you're a perfect couple. Exactly, I tell her the same. I have got a well-known writer wife. What else do I need? But this drama queen doesn't believe it. He looked at Wine mischievously. Lena chuckled, understanding his mischievousness, and excused herself, while Wine gave him a look filled with sadness. Tam pulled her closer, staring deeply into her eyes. Whom did you say, drama queen? She spoke as soon as Lena walked away. You, who else? He shrugged his shoulders. Are you not a drama queen? You have written a series so well, he said with a smile. I understand everything, she said, pulling out of his grip. He held her hand. You do not understand anything, he said in a low tone and placed her hand on his heart. Let go of me. I haven't held his hand to let go of. She felt his heart hammering against his chest. She swiftly pulled out and walked away. Handscape. Soon they called it a day. Everyone returned to their houses. One had to go with Mr. and Mrs. Kim, but they had already left, so she had to go with him. She was confused by Thames' intense gaze. All the way he was stealing glances at her. Soon they reached their destination. One frowned seeing the farmhouse, then hopped out while Wine followed suit. Why are we here? She asked confusedly, entering the living room. Fortred, he sat on the sofa. Come on, sit here. She hesitantly sat on the corner, then scooped closer to her while the housekeeper came and placed a cake in front of them. Then dismissed him. One stared at the cake with disbelief. Happy first wedding anniversary, he said and placed a knife in her hand to cut the cake. He extended a piece of cake in front of her. She hesitantly took a bite. Your gift. He placed a box in her lap. She stared at it blankly. Wouldn't you see what's in there? No, you have given me the perfect gift of turning your back on me. I don't want anything else. Tam went silent for a moment. That's why I brought you here, Wine. Take it all out of your heart, or it will become a lingering affliction, a persistent wound that will haunt choice which turned her life upside down. The night you were sitting closer to me while I was holding your hand. How can I forget that night? She said in a low tone. On that rainy night, the innocent girl filled with fear and holding my hand found her way into my heart, scared of me. One stared at him with disbelief. That was the moment you found your way into my heart. You were scared of me and I was scared of my feelings. The next day and for the rest of the time I denied my feelings. I kept convincing myself that it was an attraction due to the weak moment. From the beginning I had set a standard of choice that had no room for compromise. You never met that standard, but somehow my heart fell for you. When Dad told me about your proposal, despite the denial somewhere in my heart, I was fine with this decision, but my practical mind held me back. I wanted to achieve my goal at any cost. That's why I told you everything clearly on our wedding night. But you reacted more than I expected. If you had been a little soft, then our relationship would not have been so complicated. He went silent. You mean this is my fault? I should have begged you to accept me wholeheartedly. She snapped at him, then chuckled. My God, Wine, your face might be innocent, but you're so smart. Well, when I went to the stage, your innocent face was stuck in my mind. I didn't contact you because I was scared of my feelings. I knew I wouldn't be able to focus on my work. Over the time, Mom and Dad increased their insistence on my return. I needed a few more months to settle back here, that's why I denied it. They knew it, yet they turned their backs on me. Then I called you after hearing your voice. My heart went out of my control. My heart decided to see you, so I did FaceTime. I wanted you to insist me to return, that's why I used to ask you the same question every day, but you are such a cruel girl. You never received my calls. Today he was confessing openly. Now you are under the impression that your so-called intelligence captivates me, but rid your mind of this notion. A year ago, I fell for the timid dumb girl on this farmhouse sofa, not the popular drama writer. He playfully smacked her head once, slightly smiled. I really love you, Wine. Please clear your heart of any misconceptions of misunderstandings you may have about me. I'm really sorry, I'll make it up to you. I promise, give me a chance. He pulled her onto his lap. Your confession has cleared everything. I am willing to give you a chance. She placed her head on his shoulder. He let out a sigh of relief and tightened the grip around her, snuggling into the crook of her neck. Both of them were silent, feeling each other's warmth and comfort until Then spoke. He didn't confess. He pulled out, cupped her face and tipped her head to look into her eyes. She smiled. I have been harboring feelings for you since the moment our eyes met. She spoke with a shy smile and hid her face in his chest. Then chuckled and stood holding her like a collar. Once staggered. What are you doing? She stuttered. You look breathtakingly beautiful. He whispered into her ear and kissed her cheek. Wine tightened the grip around his collar. Then she mumbled broken heart. Relax, we are just going to the bedroom, he said, and entered the bedroom. He placed her on the bed and squatted before her to take off her heels. What are you doing? She moved back, but he held her legs. Let me do my work. He took off her heels and placed it beside the bed. Tonight we'll stay here and tomorrow we'll shift to our house. Shift to our house? She passed him a questioning gaze. I bought us a new house. We will move out from my parents' house. He pressed a long kiss on her forehead with devotion. Few months later, their lives were canvas painted with vibrant hues of happiness. Their bond had blossomed into something even more profound. With each passing day, their love grew stronger like intertwining vines that couldn't be separated. They found solace in each other's arms and joy in the simplest of moments. Their happy life was a testament to the depth of their connection, a beautiful journey they embarked on together. One was busy with her new projects while Time was busy settling his business, yet they didn't let it affect their relationship. They were the example of a perfect couple. The Wine was preparing breakfast when her phone beeped, grabbing her attention. She saw a notification from Martha. Martha has been calling her for a few days saying she wants to apologize for whatever she did. Wayne ignored her at first, but then her mom said Martha visited her and apologized. Wayne thought she must be sincerely ashamed, that's why she decided to meet her. She checked the doctor's appointment, which was at 5:30, and then sent Martha a message that she would meet her at 7 p.m. She placed the phone on the slab and smiled, thinking how would Ken react if the news she was waiting for turned out to be true. She shrugged her thoughts and focused on preparing breakfast. After a few moments, she felt two muscular arms wrapped around her waist. "Why did you leave me alone in the room?" he asked, snuggling into the crook of her neck. Wayne leaned into his touch. "You were sleeping soundly," he nibbled on her neck. "It tickles," she said while laughing and turned towards him. "Go and get ready for office. I want to spend time with you today," he pecked her lips. "Now you are having a lot of work pending. Go and change. Breakfast is ready." He let out a sigh and crashed his lips on hers, taking her off guard. Wayne clenched his shirt in her fist. They didn't have any intentions of pulling out anytime soon. Wayne hit his shoulder, gasping for air. He pulled out and placed her head on his chest, breathing heavily. "Get used to this, Mrs. Kim," he said, stroking her back. She slapped his chest. "Go, you're running out of time." "I'm going now, but for the rest of the month, I will stay at home and I won't let you sleep," he said with a wink and walked away while Wayne's face flushed red, getting his